Hey everyone, it's Ashley with Amare, and today we are going to be talking about compression garments for post-op. So in the lymphedema world and in the manual lymph drainage world, we use compression garments like sleeves or just the glove part for keeping compression on the body so that it doesn't blow up like with lymphedema where it's a very big limb. In our last video, we talked about lymphedema and how it works with the body and what happens. So we have compression garments for lymphedema that's definitely different than post-op plastic surgery compression garments. A lot of times they are called Fajas, which is, the Colombian way to say compression garment, or like suit. And all of these things are usually made in like Latin America. Colombia is a very popular place. We use our compression garments come directly from Colombia. So what is the difference between a compression garment and a Spanx? Because Spanx is like compression. It's the same thing. Medical grade compression, the seams are cut and the fabric is cut to only compress certain areas. So this brings a lot of questions and a lot of different conflicting things that come into play when you're looking for a garment. So you'll hear places in Miami that do all kinds of crazy surgery outside of the normal limits that they should be, telling you, oh, you don't need another garment. Go get it taken in by a seamstress. Big no-no. Big no-no. You never want to alter a garment ever. First of all, it's extremely expensive, and second of all, if you don't know what you're doing as far as taking in the seams for the proper compression and measuring accordingly, it's not going to come out right and it's going to ruin your results permanently. Do not alter your garments, number one. Number two, please find a person to fit you. At Amare, we have certified fitters that are trained for fitting specifically for compression garments. Again, you have to be trained. Why? Because the seams in the garments are cut a certain way to fit your body and hug your body and compress certain areas and not compress others in order to guide the fluid to the correct drains in the body. So when it comes to measuring for a glove or a sleeve for lymphedema, that's easy. We want it to be tighter on the bottom and looser on the top so that it can funnel the fluid up towards the closest cluster of lymph nodes and drains so that it can take it out of the body. When it comes to post-op compression garments, it's completely different. You had a BBL, which is, injecting into the glutes. We don't want to squish that too much because it'll cause the fat to die. You had lipo. We want to make sure that you get enough circulation for the lymph to be able to move without really squeezing it too tight and trapping it in there. You had a breast augmentation. We want to make sure that if you did have implants, we're not putting too tight pressure around those implants, or a fat transfer, same thing. We want to make sure that it's not too tight. Tighter is never better in the case of compression garments for post-surgeries. Your faja should not be that tight. If you can't comfortably get your faja on yourself with all of those little eye hooks by yourself, and you have to really stretch it to put it on you, it is way too tight and it's going to make you hard. It's going to cause lumps and bumps. It's going to cause your skin to become weird and crinkly, and it's going to cause a lot of swelling and cut into you, which we don't want. So again, number two, biggest thing, please make sure you are seeing a professional to get your garments cut. So let's talk about what actually is this compression garment thing. So there's tons of them, right? And every brand has several different garments for several different surgeries. If you're getting a BBL and lipo, you're going to need a different garment than if you're getting lipo and a tummy tuck. You're going to need a different garment if you're doing just the tummy tuck. You're going to need a different garment if you're doing a breast augmentation. There are garments that have the bra part that snaps closed, and then it's got the row of hooks down the front that also snap closed, and they range anywhere from high up on underwear to mid-thigh to all the way down to your knees. I never would suggest getting the ones that come into your thighs. Your major lymph drains are at your hips. If you are having a seam post-op cutting into your hips, you are cutting off the lymph fluid. You will cause more fluid and cause some really bad results. So we never want to go with the ones that cut into the thighs. Mid-thigh is okay. For people who are shorter, I'm 5'1", so for me, a mid-thigh would probably fit me a little bit lower, almost down to my knees. And then you have very long ones that are supposed to fit down to your knees. How are those supposed to feel, and how do we size for them? So it depends on your body, depends on your surgery. Like I said, there are tons of different garments for different surgeries, and then it depends on what we're trying to achieve as far as shape. Like I said, if you had a BBL, we don't want it too tight around your waist. If you had lipo, we want to make sure that it's covering all the areas that you had the lipo in. The other thing that we use is the Lipo foams. Every type of foam is different. We will do a whole nother video on foams explaining what they are, what you need, why they work. We have a foam that we sell at Amare that is a completely different kind of foam than you will find on the internet or on Amazon. It's not memory foam, and it's polyurethane. So the difference is memory foam collapses under the weight of your garment. Polyurethane is very thick. Again, I will do a whole video on products, and I will do another video on actual garments that we use at Amare to explain to you guys about the seams and how they're cut. But garments need to be cut specific for your surgery. We always say that we want to go with the garments your doctor gives you because they're planning for the surgery that you're having. So a lot of doctors will give you some very good compression garments. A couple of the names of the companies are M&D, Melly Belt. The ones that we definitely don't recommend are Morena. Morena garments are the garments that your doctor will give you that if you pull it and it slingshots across the room, it's way too stretchy. It's not going to give you any compression. It may work for like 2 or 3 days, and then it's going to get super loose. So problems that come into play, you're either too tight or too loose in your garment, and that can play a huge problem with your swelling, with your fibrosis, with your scarring, with incisions opening back up, incisions not healing properly to begin with. So all of these things are super important. A very loose garment will cause you to blow up everywhere and get very hard because your body is not being held. That fluid isn't being pushed back into the tissue. It's just hanging out in the interstitial space. So we definitely don't want a garment that's too loose. If you can pull your garment away from your body comfortably, or if you can fit your whole hand down in your garment as it's on your body, it's way too big. So we also, again, don't want it too tight. So if you can't put it on you normally, like actually get it on you, then it's too tight. It shouldn't have to be you pulling or having somebody else squeeze you into it. If it doesn't feel comfortable, if it feels like it's cutting off your circulation, do not wear it. Get a different garment. So those are the two major ends of the spectrum. When you get a garment from your doctor, it can be a range of things. Sometimes they fit for them. 90% of the times they don't. They try to just squeeze you, especially in Miami, into the tightest thing because they're taught as doctors, more compression is better. That is not the case. If you are squeezing and you are getting squashed into that thing, you can do so much damage, especially when you're talking about a fat transfer. So if something doesn't feel right, definitely try to check with your doctor first. Then you have the other end of the spectrum where there's a lot of doctors that don't give you garments. They kind of tell you, okay, you don't need a garment. You kind of do. You always need a compression garment. You just had surgery. If you, like I said, stub your toe or, hurt your hand, you wrap it in an ace bandage because that compression really helps. The same thing with surgery. It is so, so, so important to have your faja, have your compression garment, and wear it 24/7. If it doesn't fit right, please, please, please reach out to us. We do virtual fittings. We do virtual pre and post-op consults. If you need recommendations for a garment, if you're not in New Jersey and can't get to us to get a garment, we will give you some references and resources. And like I said, we do virtual fittings. So I can teach you how to fit at home, tell you what type of garment based on what you're getting done and what your body looks like. So please feel free to reach out to us for that. So talking about garments themselves, right? So we said a couple brands, M&D, Morena, Lady Comfort is the one that we use that we love. We work personally with them in their shipping process, development process, ordering process, that whole thing. So we work very closely with them and they supply us our garments per, whatever surgery we're looking for to get garments for. So we work with them. There are a couple other companies out there. I know, like I said, Melly Belt. There are actually a couple places that do garment fittings or faja fittings. They are like the Pink Room Shapewear is one of them. I know there's a couple places down in South Amboy that do them as well, but they're an actual kind of Victoria's Secret but they sell shapewear, so it's called shapewear. There's a big difference, like I said, between a Spanx, which is a shapewear that's very elastic. Morena is like that. That is not a good, suitable post-op compression garment. You want something like Lady Comfort that's a little more rigid. You want something that has thick seams, something that's not going to be super stretchy. Garments should not be stretchy like that. Again, they are cut to compress your body in certain areas. So when we're talking about fitting for garments, how do you know if it's going to be too tight or how do you know if it's tight enough, right? So I could tell you all these things, but when you get it, you're like, I don't know. Well, here's how you want to check. The seams on the garment should be kind of like looking like they're on the outside. The material should be a little bit thicker. It shouldn't be a stretchy material. And the seams shouldn't be tiny little sewn in things. They should be thick seams that run along the curves of your body for that reason, because those seams are pulled in tighter in areas like your stomach for lipo where it's supposed to be in. Those seams are also running along the sides of your thighs and the inside of your thighs to get that thigh compression proper the way that it is. This is also the reason you do not want to take it to a seamstress. There is no seamstress on this planet that specializes in taking in post-op garments. All they'll do is take your measurements, same as you would regularly go to a seamstress, tell them, hey, I need this a little bit tighter, and they'll take it in, but that is throwing off the proportions. The reason we measure and fit for compression garments is it's all about proportions. So when you come in, we'll measure you, and then if it's pre-op, we'll take into account, okay, how much is this going to be built in as far as putting in a fat transfer, or how much is going to be reduced if you're doing lipo of the arms, lipo of the thighs, it doesn't matter where. But we account for these things when we're in the office, which is why we do the fittings for you and we can do them virtually, because I'll be able to tell you what you need once I figure out your original measurements and what you're trying to get them to be. So again, taking it to a cleaner's to get it fitted is not really the right move, because you're spending upwards of $100 when a garment is maybe $70 itself. So it makes sense that if your garment isn't fitting you, maybe, yeah, you do need another garment. Or, like I was saying before, the lipo foams help bridge that gap between your body and the garment when you're in between that next size. So there's always 3 hooks on our garments. Some have 2, some only have 1 and a zipper. Those garments we really don't like. If your garment only has 1 row of hooks on the inside and the zipper, you're gonna wear out of that garment very, very, very quickly. The other thing is you can use the lipo foams to bridge the gap with that, but it has to be the right kind of foam that doesn't collapse under your garment, and you have to put them in a certain way. Now, how do we do that? Again, we'll have a video on the lipo foams all about that. But you can use the lipo foams to bridge the gap in your garment. But if your garment is that big or that tight, you're either not going to get the lipo foams in, or the garment itself is going to be too big and the foams are going to slide all over the place and it's going to be super uncomfortable. A good garment should fit like a really good bra or a really good pair of leggings or a really good pair of socks. They actually have those socks that have like the compression around the middle of the foot, like the arch support socks. That's how your garment should fit. Those socks, if you look, are designed to have those little ridges around like the area where it holds the arch of your foot. And then there's a different texture, or a different material, or it looks like it fits a different way on the toe and the heel and the ankle. So again, those socks are designed for proportional measurements, as should your garment be. So if you're just ordering a medium or a small off of whatever site, Colombian sizing is very different. And it's not just because Colombian sizing is different, it's because every single type of garment, even if it's all from the same company, is cut proportionately different. So please be sure to always, always, always check the sizing charts on everything you do. And this is why we do virtual fittings, because a sizing chart for the same company is going to be different per garment, and you won't know what garment you need until you tell us what surgery you had and what you're looking to get done. Then we can find a garment that's going to fit your body size, height, weight, and type of surgery. So it's extremely important to find someone who does garment fittings. So a lot of doctors don't really do garment fittings. They don't really talk about it very much. They'll just give you a medium merino garment, which is kind of like a one-size-fits-all. No real seams, no real compression, no hooks down the front. Ours, like I said, has 3 rows of hooks so that we can downgrade to get you into that next size and fit the foams in there so we can move forward or backwards with the sizing and the measurements depending on what we've got going on with your healing process. So it's always good to have more hooks than less hooks. We don't generally like the zippers on the sides or that 1 row of hooks on the sides. There are garments like that. They cut into you. They cause indents. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with that. So definitely feel free to reach out to us for garment fittings, things like that. Definitely feel free to contact us, give us a call, send us an email. You can use us as a resource. Like I said, we do virtual fittings. You can contact us, their information through our website, or send us a DM here. There's the link in the bio to all of our YouTube videos. Those are all up there. Those will tell you more about what manual lymphatic drainage is, the anatomy of it, what we do at Amare, what happens in our sessions, and there'll be more videos to come about post-op supplies. So I'm very excited to talk to you guys soon. Have a good rest of your day, and reach out, please, if you need anything. Bye, guys.